Roll. Okay. Here we are, everybody. It is a beautiful Saturday night. I don't think I expected to be recording on a Saturday night, but here we are. We have another interview for you with the man that runs the Greater Toronto Indoor Football League, or the GTIFL, Mr. Cody Baker. He humbly was like, I'm ready to get on here and talk about this new league, tonight. So I want to open up the floor to you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty great tonight. Just it's a cold night here in Toronto. We have a bye week before our championship game next week, so was able to fit this in.
I'm glad y'all were able to fit this in, because to me, I mean, sometimes people can communicate pretty well. Sometimes people don't. It just is what it is with that. My first kind of question is how did all this get started? So what was the thought process, and how long ago did y'all start this league up?
So we're in our second season now. We had a couple other indoor leagues that were in the Toronto area, and through years, one was around for 12 years, and then it shut down, and then another one popped up. Some guys took it over. It lasted for about 2 or 3 seasons, and some things started to happen in there. There were some fights and a lot of altercations there, and so it ceased to exist. So we didn't really have much of an indoor football scene for a few years. And a couple of people had reached out to me, and they're like, I don't know where the rumor had started, but they're like, oh, I heard you're starting an indoor football league. And I was like, actually, I'm not. I didn't have any plans to, but then, it came up a couple times, and I was like, well, who's saying this? And finally, I was like, well, yeah, obviously everyone's kind of looking to me to start a league. So I started doing some research on some facilities for rent and some turf for rent. And I didn't really want to do another dome slash soccer field. And then I came across the Toronto Rock, the professional lacrosse team. They have a practice center out in Oakville, and it's the arena facility that we play in now. I came across that. I had reached out to the ownership of the GM of that place a few times through email. Didn't get any response. It was very hard to get a hold of them. And one day I was working in the Oakville area, and I stopped in and I saw him. Then I had a conversation with him, and he says, well, let me take this to the president of the Rock and the facility. And then they got back to me and said, yeah, we'd love to bring you guys on and rent you some time. And then we started the GTIFL.
Yeah, that's interesting, because like I said, I've never even really seen. I mean, there's been teams up in Canada in more professional, sort of kind of professional indoor football leagues in Canada. I think there's like one in the past or something like that. I don't
In
know.
the early 2000s, we had an arena football team, the Toronto Phantoms, and
Yeah,
they went for 2 seasons, and then they ceased to exist. And then we've never really had an arena football landscape here. We've had indoor football, but when I saw this facility, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, it has to be here, because this brings something new to Canada that we've never really had.
yeah. So what kind of thought process does all that go into? Like just having the sport of indoor football in Canada.
Well, we had a couple leagues before, so we were all pretty used to the idea. Hit Squad, one of our teams, they played in the other leagues, and they were champions in the other leagues before. I had a team called the Reapers. We were a champion in the other league, and a lot of our players come from playing in these previous leagues that we had. So it wasn't too hard to get everything put together to get everybody over. We started off a little short last season, but in the first season, it's always pretty hard to build. And then from there, we built on, and now we have 5 teams and over 150 players registered this year. And we're looking at even expanding to more next season.
Awesome. So, kind of talk to me about this championship that y'all have coming up. You have the undefeated Hit Squad and the Supreme team coming up this next Saturday night. Kind of give me a little preview of that championship.
This championship is a championship of rivals. These guys, off the field, they're friends. They like each other, but on the field, they don't. And they want to beat each other every game that they play. Hit Squad beat them last season. Supreme team was actually able to pull out a win over Hit Squad once last year. So it's been a bit of a back and forth occasion. And then Hit Squad answered back later on in the season, and then was able to win a tight one in the championship last year. And then, so for the first game of the season this year, we decided let's have a rematch of the championship, and Hit Squad walked away with that one. And then mid-season, we had, another showdown between the two, and it ended in a 0-0 tie. So, and, since I think since November 24th, nobody's been able to score on Supreme. And then since a week after that, nobody's been able to score on Hit Squad. So both teams are on a shutout streak here, and it's a clash of the Titans in this finals. And, I believe we're in for some fireworks and for a really good show.
Yeah, I did want to talk to you a little bit about the scores of some of these games. Why have some of the scores of these games been pretty low scoring? These feel like NFL type scores, to be quite honest. I'm
So
just gonna be real with you.
our games are only an hour long.
That's why.
Because we rent our field time, and we're still starting off next season. We're looking to expanding it by another 10 minutes per game to make it a little bit longer. And we don't have for kickoffs and kickoff returns. So
Okay, so
that takes a lot of scoring out of the game, simply for the fact that there's liability with our insurance because we are an amateur league, and the facility doesn't want us kicking any balls in there because they have fans up ahead. They don't want any damage to. It's something that we thought about, and we tried to find a way to implement, maybe doing squib kicks across the ground, but then it becomes the liability issue of the kickoff and the kick return. So, if we had that, we probably would have a lot higher scores. But a lot of these guys are used to playing 7-on-7, which opens up the field a little bit more. And this year, and our league since we started is 8-on-8.
gotcha.
So it's a learning curve for everybody, and it makes the games a lot tighter.
Gotcha. Yeah, because like I said, I didn't know, so I was wondering. That's why I was looking at some of the scores of these games. I'm sitting here like, his score's kind of low, but now
Yeah.
that I got the answer that I kind of needed there, I mean, that is a perfect explanation. That is definitely solid. I definitely can see something like that, like because some places do have like really low arena, like the ceilings,
Yeah.
or like the scoreboard, video boards, kind of muck things up. So, I can totally see why that would be an issue of kicking and punting, and well, not punting because there's no punting in arena football. I don't know why I said that, but kicking and stuff like that, I can see why there'd be an issue there. Um, do you think that there would be a chance for do you think there'd be a chance for like a professional arena or indoor team, like back in Canada at some point? Do you think that could ever happen again?
I do think it could happen, and in the background, we're always thinking of ways of how we can expand this. And it's one of our dreams to eventually expand into a pro league. Right now, we're in the process of setting up a showcase game with a team from Baltimore. We're looking to have that game. It's going to take place here at our arena. They're going to come up hopefully in October, and that's going to start getting us more exposure through the pros and the pro am circuits. With a lot of these teams from the States, there's been some interest of other teams coming up to play us. So that's going to be kind of the starting point for us to really push this into expand into a pro side.
Gotcha. And what do you think about the American indoor and arenas landscape right now? What do you think about things over here stateside?
It's definitely, I love it. First of all, it's why I wanted to do arena here, because it's something we never have, and the game is electrifying. It's awesome to be a part of. The landscape sometimes, from what I've seen, it can get pretty messy with teams coming up and folding and leagues folding, and which is why I really wanted to put focus in on starting this very slow and building this kind of as a grassroots way, because I didn't want to pop up with a pro league and then don't have a league a year or 2 years later because of certain decisions. Not to say that down in the States they're doing it wrong, because a lot of these teams have been around for a long time, but I just didn't want to be a casualty of starting off too quick and making a bad mistake.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there are so many people that come into the sport, think they have, everything, as tight as a bow, but then, something happens.
Yeah.
And
So we actually had a pro team here a couple years ago called the Niagara Spartans. They played at the Can-Am Indoor Football League. We played 4 away games, and when it came time to our 4 home games, There was no turf, there was no home arena, and our team ceased to exist. Which it kind of gave a lot of us a taste in our mouth that was pretty sour, and let down a lot of people. So when I found this, I was like, okay, we have an option here to try to do something and build something that we were supposed to have and didn't have. So that's why I just want to take it slow and build this from the ground up.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm glad you are kind of building it kind of slow. You're like a couple of there's like a couple other leagues that are kind of building it slow. I'm not sure if you heard of the Arena League, which is now 7-on-7. They're
Oh,
building pretty slowly out in the Midwest, stuff like that. The Entertainment Football Association, they're also kind of building it kind of slow with their 4 teams. Of course, they're bringing back the New York Dragons, so
okay.
yeah, they're bringing them back. So that's gonna be intriguing to follow throughout the later months of the indoor football calendar because those leagues kicked off in like May. So
Yeah, we're playing when they're all on their break because we have our outdoor leagues here, and most of our players that play in our league are tied up in their outdoor league obligations. So we do it through our winter here, so our guys can still be able to play.
yeah. I've always wondered, how playing in the winter goes because I've seen leagues play in the fall and the winter, and I've always been curious, to see like what kind of thought process is there. That's not really the typical timetable of teams playing, but I get it at the same time because not a lot of these teams and leagues that play in the fall and the winter are really paid or they're
Yeah.
really. So I wonder what your thought process is about that.
It's a lot easier for us to be able to operate because we have two semi-pro leagues here in Ontario that play outdoor ball. There are 12 on 12. And so most of the guys they're tied up in those leagues and they love playing in those leagues. They travel through Ontario. I played in those leagues myself, and so if I were to try to compete with them, it would create a massive hole in our player registration and guys that are actually eligible to play for us. So instead of going into competition with these two other leagues, I decided that it's easier for me to have this operate in the during their off season.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, are you a lacrosse fan?
I love lacrosse.
Yes, let's go.
I love
I
I
kind of
love the
feel.
Toronto Rock. I've been watching them since I was a kid, and that's funny how I actually found this facility years ago. I was watching one of their exhibition games on one of our local sports programs, Sportsnet, and I was, I'm a construct I built I'm a construction supervisor, so I saw this building. It had a siding background. It looked like one of the buildings that I built, and I'm like, where is this place? Because I haven't seen this place ever. So then I started doing some research on it and was able to find it, and I went and paid it a visit. And I'm like, yep, this is the place we have to have arena football.
Yeah. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, the Rock ain't doing too good this year, but it's all right. It's all right. I
It's all
mean,
right. They've done well in the past. It's like our Raptors, right? They're not doing too good this year either, but they got their up years and their down years.
yeah, yeah. How do you feel? How did you feel about that trade that happened? Where I think Nick Rose got traded.
I wasn't aware of that. I'm not that too deep into it. I didn't
Oh,
follow it
oh,
that much.
oh you know,
But Nick Rose is actually the GM of our facility. I wasn't aware that he was traded.
yeah. I think he got traded somewhere, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that was like a big, uproar with all the NLL trade deadline stuff. How do you feel about Summer Box? Which is like, Oakville, which is where that facility is that y'all play in. You know, like the senior A, junior A. How do you feel about those types of leagues?
I don't follow it that well. I've
Oh,
started to follow it recently because at our facility they always have practices and everything that's going on, and a lot of their younger players have started to show an interest in our league when because they've seen us there playing and practicing, and a few of them have reached out. So it's brought me to start looking at their leagues and watching them, and seeing if anybody's actually interested to come in to play arena football.
yeah, because I mean, the stigma, where it's like, um, where it's like, announcers or media guys, they'll talk about, oh well, this lacrosse player is playing a different sport. Wow, guys, let's get our eyes on this sport. So
Yeah.
let's get our eyes on lacrosse, a little bit, and then nobody actually commits to getting, their eyeballs and watching a lacrosse game. So
Yeah.
so it always befuddles me.
Some of our players actually have played lacrosse, and they do play lacrosse. We have a lot of indigenous players in our league, and most of them are into lacrosse as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely, definitely. What about the Canadian Football League? How can you get me? Are you a Canadian Football League fan
I
or
am.
not?
I am a diehard Toronto Argos fan. I hold season tickets. I'm there yelling my head off every game that they're at home, getting rowdy with the rest of the fans in the end zone. I love them.
Yeah, because I've always been kind of interested, but I'm like at the same time I don't know how to get into it. So I was wondering, hey, how do I get into the Canadian Football League? How do I get into it? Like,
It's 3 down football, so it's not 4 downs, and it's
yeah,
12-on-12.
yeah, I know that. I know that part. I know 3 downs, 12 on 12. Rouges,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But like, just actually kind of just sitting down watching a game. Like, what does that mean? To
Um,
you?
so it's on all of our local sports networks out here, TSN, Sportsnet, normally on Thursday, Friday nights. Sometimes there's the occasional Saturday game. They don't really play on Sundays. So it's normally, Friday, TSN Friday Night Football, and that's where you can tune in and watch it.
Yeah, I know. I keep up with media stuff too.
Yeah.
So
If you're ever in Toronto, that you can get tickets for about $20 to watch a game, and it's a great atmosphere. Now they brought in some cheap beer and food deals as well, so it's a lot more affordable to get there and watch the games. A couple seasons ago, you were spending $100 just to have a few beers and some food, and now they got some $5 beer specials, some $5 hot dogs. So it's getting
wow.
more affordable and more fan friendly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would like right there. The fan friendly aspect of it. Because like there are games sometimes over here where it's like, oh, you got to pony up about 30-40 bucks just to go to a game. But I don't know. The price of being a sports fan sometimes can be a lot. So
Yeah, like
um,
my season ticket package averages out. I have 2 seats. It averages out to about $22 per seat for each game, which keeps it affordable and makes it worth it.
yeah, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. To be quite honest with you. What other things are you kind of interested in, Mr. Baker? What other things are you kind of interested in?
I'm a huge basketball fan. Um, uh, I love the Raptors. You know, sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not. We have to take it as it is. There's more years where we're bad than we are good. I hope this Brandon Ingram trade brings a lot to us over the next coming seasons. It helps build with our solid core guys of like Scotty Barnes, Quickly, Barrett. And if we're able to keep Pirtle around, that would actually help solidify that starting five with Ingram, or we have to go out and get another center. But I think I got high hopes for next season. I think we'll be back in playoff contention. And, that's where every team just at least wants to be. So.
Yeah, yeah. So my Mavs right now are feeling it. So I went to the
Oh
Mavs
man,
game.
I don't
Went
know
to the
why
Mavs
they
game.
did that. I don't know how they got rid of Luca.
Yeah, I mean, we kept it close with Memphis last night, but ultimately we still lost in the end. Memphis
Yeah,
had these nice red jerseys on, by the way. They had
yeah,
some
they were
nice.
really nice. I caught some clips of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I finally crossed it off my bucket list of going to a Mavs game. So I've been to every Big Four DFW sports teams game at some point. So that's great. That's great. So um, I'm hoping to get up to Canada at some point, but I don't know when that will be. Because like,
Well, if you make it up this summer, let me know. Hopefully, it's on a Friday, and I get you. And Argos have a home game, and I'd be glad to bring you to an Argos game, and you can watch some CFL football.
maybe we'll see. We'll see. Because one of my plans was going to Ottawa, so I wanted to see
Okay.
like the Black Bears and then the PWHL team. The women's hockey team. I wanted to
Yeah.
try and get a weekend in, but I don't know if I can plan around that now. It's maybe a little bit too little, too late at this point. But it is what it is. I can't. I'll wait. I mean, I'll wait a little longer. Maybe we'll see on next year's schedule and everything like that. I mean, because Jeff Teat is a dog. Jeff Teat is he is
Yeah.
he is just amazing to watch. I'm telling you, like. Where else can people find you on other social medias or anything like that?
So we have our YouTube channel, GTIFL 2024. We're on Facebook, GTIFL, and our Instagram is GTIFL official. We live stream all of our games to our YouTube page. Last year we did Facebook Live. And then this year we decided just to stick strictly with YouTube, and it's worked out a lot better for us. We're averaging around between 400 and 600 views per game, which I'm extremely happy about. By Monday morning, sometimes we look at the counter and it's over 500 views, and that's all we can really ask for as an amateur sports team, a sports league.
Gotcha. Do you have any other social medias that you want to, spill out real quick or no?
There's the Hit Squad GTIFL page. There's the Supreme Indoor Football page. You can check out the teams. There's the Anarchy GTIFL. There's the Thunder GTIFL page. Then we have the Exolotos. The Exolotos, they are originally from Mexico, out of the Lexful League. And a bunch of them had moved up here, and we started conversations with them to get them to come over to our league, and they decided to join us. And they're my favorite. You hear me? I'm up on the top of the mezzanine recording the games, and I'm hoping those guys are able to score and win. When they got their first points of the season, the entire arena went nuts. They're the fan favorite. Everybody loves them. Those guys have so much heart, and I hope they continue to stay a part of us and just build from where they are. They started, most of them were free agents that I had built the team around in their original core from Mexico. So it was a little bit of a rough season for them, but they showed nothing but extreme heart, and I'm extremely proud of those guys.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That is a good thing to hear, to be quite honest with you. You have any other influences or inspirations to help keep you going? So no, it's hard out here. It's hard out here.
It's hard. It's the guys. I was a player, right? So, and being able to give them this atmosphere to play in, and they get the proper change rooms, they have the arena setting. I kind of, we go and we get the corporate sponsorships for these guys to help keep the fees extremely low. In reality, that's what keeps it going is them. Try to give them the best product and let them know that their fees are actually going to good use.
Yeah. Cody, I really want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. Nobody else has reached out like this to do this interview, and I'm glad somebody did, because now we, finally get some information out there and get some coverage. So,
hey, I'm happy. I'm happy to cover this league. Hopefully more so in the future. I'll definitely be trying to watch the GTIFL Championship next Saturday night. I'll be trying, but who knows? Because there's so much going on next Saturday night. So, again, thank you so much for coming on.
If you're not able to watch, I'll definitely get you the scores right away as soon as that game is over, so you can at least you'll have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. You've been wonderful. You've been a wonderful guest. You've been great with communication with me. Because again, a lot of people, kind of throw me on the wayside sometimes, but it is what it is. And I hope, we get you back on here or maybe somebody else's show in the near future. Because I can always
anytime just reach out, and if it won't be me, it could be one of my partners. We can get them on. But yeah, we're more than happy to get back on.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much from Mr. Cody Baker. I'm Big Boy Sports. We're both signing on out, and I will see you very, very soon. Eau Claire, you're next, baby. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the Eau Claire Axemen. You are next. I'm ready. I'm so ready for that. We'll see if we can get them on, next week. Again, if you're not watching the GTIFL, please do. Their championship is next weekend between the Supreme team and the Hit Squad. It's going to be a beautiful championship game, hard-hitting, hard-nosed football. Can't wait for it. Again, we're out.
Thank you.